Hey, it's Tree, and I'm back for another video. This day is more line art for page 12 of chapter 2. I post these on Webtoons and Tapas every Friday right now, so look for those on Webtoons and Tapas. Today I wanted to ask the question, do goals matter? Which I think is a pretty broad question, so we're probably going to talk about that a little bit more. I know for me, I've been on like two different sides of this. When I was younger especially, I would have said that goals don't really matter, because anytime I would set goals, I wouldn't keep them. And now I think goals are a little bit important, but they aren't the most important thing about a year, you know? So let me elaborate a little bit. I think that goals can matter if you actually set goals that you want to fulfill. I know a lot of people set like small goals, like I'm going to brush my teeth more often, I'm going to maybe stop drinking caffeine, and I feel like those are easily fulfillable, but there's like this big disconnect, I feel like, because some people, they'll set goals like, I'm going to start walking a mile every day, I'm going to lose weight. And sometimes those goals just aren't as easily achievable, and when we don't fulfill them, they just put us off a little bit from making any new goals. Like, why would I set goals if every year I tell myself I'm going to lose weight and then I never do? That kind of thinking. Which is why I kind of started looking at goals a little bit differently. I feel like I come at goals from a very more, like, realistic approach. Like, do I actually want to do this, or am I putting it off for a reason? If I'm having trouble losing weight, why am I having that trouble? And basically coming up at it from like smaller goals. So instead of just a general goal of I want to lose more weight, maybe start like eating less sweets and things like that. Because I feel like if it's more achievable, we're more likely to make more goals, if that makes sense. One of the things that I do in particular is I'll set a couple of realistic goals and then see where I'm at in 6 months, and then come back at it from another angle if I haven't made those goals. So for a while I would set the goal of finishing volume 1 of Wakefield, for example, and I wouldn't meet those goals because I'm busy in my day-to-day life. So to solve that, I set a smaller goal. Like, I want to finish chapter 1 of Wakefield, and I plugged away at it, and then I was able to finally achieve it. And since then, I've kind of reevaluated my goals a little bit, because I feel like once I achieved that, my rate of making comics increased substantially. So once that happened, I'm able to set goals that I wouldn't find realistic. Say, like last year, I would not have found realistic. Like, finishing volume 1 of Wakefield this year is very much like in my grasp, because I feel like I've been producing more pages faster lately, but in the past it wasn't possible for me to do that. The number one like largest reason why I wasn't able to do that though is just because like my tablet was small and I was cramped, and upgrading is what made me work faster. So I feel like if you're not achieving goals that you want to achieve, it's a good thing to reevaluate them. Like, is there a reason why I'm not achieving this goal? Or is the goal I'm setting too big? Like, do I need to break up this goal into smaller things? But of course, that doesn't change the fact that some people just don't think goals are worth achieving, if that makes sense. Like, achieving goals can only work if they mean something to you. And if they don't, they're just not going to happen. And there's nothing really wrong with that. But maybe coming at it from a new angle might be worth a try to see if goals can mean something to you. I do think it's a good approach to, like, not hold goals to, like, this super big standard, because I feel like people do put too much meaning into whether or not they're achieving their goals, and then when they don't achieve them, they feel like very depressed. I've been there, and at that point, I just feel like goals aren't really worth it if it's putting you in a bad mood. But then again, I could say that about a lot of things. I just don't think things are worth your time and energy if it's making you upset. Of course, there's sometimes, like, you have to do things that make you upset, but if you can get away with avoiding it, I think you should. Another weird thing about goals for me is that, like, some people set goals that are like 5-10 years in the future. Like, maybe in 5 years I'll be in my own house, like, I'm going to own a house in my name in 5 years. And for me, it's like difficult to think about that far in the future, if that makes sense. Like, I just can't picture myself in 5 years. And when I think about setting goals like 5 years in the future, it just, I don't know, stresses me out a little bit. Because in the past, when I think about where I would be in 5 years, it turns out life doesn't work that way. And I was somewhere completely different in 5 years. Like, for example, when I was in middle school, I'd think about the future, and it'd be like, in 5 years, I will be 16, and I'll have a car, and I'll drive to school every day. And, I'm 24, and I still don't have my license, so that didn't end up happening, and, that's not really a bad thing. But yeah, definitely for me, if I'm going to make goals, I definitely try to come at it from a more realistic approach, and I try to think about, like, where I'll be in 6 months with the project. Because if it's any longer than that, I just can't properly estimate the amount of time. It would probably be easier if, like, I took the time it took me to finish a page, and then see, like calculate how many days and stuff based on that. But again, like, I don't like math. I can't picture things in my brain, and that upsets me, so maybe that wouldn't be a good idea for me. I talked about this in another video on my TreeSpright channel, but, like, if I can't picture things in my brain, it makes me upset. Which is a simple way to describe it, but I definitely have a more picture-oriented mind, so if there's no picture, it upsets me. And, maybe that's why I have trouble with goals sometimes, is I can't picture things, and my brain doesn't like that. Like, that's the easiest way to describe it. I'm sorry. But maybe if you have a picture-oriented brain like me, maybe these tips will help you and finally setting goals that you intend to do. And if you enjoyed listening to me ramble, subscribe for more content, and I will see you next time.